My most memorable moment, I would have to say, was a talent show. Watching my kids or my students up there on stage and having fun was just a blast to get to witness. The word to sum up my year was chaos. Chaos. It was chaos.
The weirdest thing someone said to me, we were looking at the Great Depression and World War II, and they asked me, what was it like back then? I said, that was 1930s and 40s. They said, but you're old, miss. I'm like, okay. I want to grow in a word. I don't know. I didn't know you were going to ask that. Sorry. A word all over the place this year. That makes sense, though.
So, a memorable moment was when one of my students wrote down on a paper and gave it to me, one of my newcomers, saying that he feels secure when he's with me and that he doesn't fear anything because I make him feel that way. And then I want to use 2 words to describe this school year. Expressive exhaustion.
Some of my most memorable moments are as a year long. I keep a binder for the entire year where I keep student quotes. Some of the best ones, just recently had one where the student brought up their cards and it said, what do I do in this section? And that was, do you want me to tell you what your name is? Was the one. And then also we had Miss Joes who asked me, do the seasons always happen in fall, winter, spring, summer? And I said, yes, Miss Joes, that is the general consistency for them of how they work.
My favorite memory from this year is watching all of the growth that we've seen in girls athletics, taking things to the championships, bringing home some medals and some ribbons. It's really exciting. And the funniest thing that I heard a kid say this year is actually typed, but we asked our athletes to say something nice about each other and then about us as coaches. And Giselle Salas wrote, Coach May is white.
Okay, so my favorite moment of the year was definitely the Able pop-up restaurant. As someone who used to work in Able, it was just amazing to see them all work together as a team and how much they really enjoyed it. And then my funniest moment of the year is I heard a student, he was a male student, he looked at another male student and he said, "Stop looking at me with your handsome face." So my favorite memory from this year is having our NJHS help in the Able classroom and help with the Able kids, as well as them doing our teacher appreciation baseball basket things that we did for our teachers. And my favorite slang word that kids say this year is skippity.
My most memorable moment this year would be my friends Chuck and Brian thriving in robotics club. And the craziest thing a kid said to me when explaining that me and my wife met on Bumble, she said, "Oh, back when you had all the hoes."
My most memorable moment is Itai Madrano falling in the 400 and getting back up and passing 3 people to finish. And craziest thing a kid said, we had a kid walking in from workouts last week say he was feeling phantom pain in his leg, so Coach Gardner asked him which one of his legs got cut off.
The highlight of my year is by far working with Mr. Holland every single day. He supports me during the good days and the bad days. And my word of the year would have to be insightful.
My most memorable moment was getting the little baseballs from students. It was very insightful because I got I got a lot of messages from my students, really nice messages and things that I didn't know they knew about me. They were paying attention during the year. And a word I would use to describe my year is pivot.
Most memorable moment would be Coach Myers in her lip sync battle riding in on the Jeep. And craziest thing a kid ever said to me, or several have said to me, is, "Yo, Coach, you got Riz?"
So my most memorable moment this year has been, we went Christmas caroling to the elementary schools, and I had a student that came up to me and told me that she had to go use the restroom, and the CC's that we had gone to, the restroom had stopped working, and she told me that she had to go number 2, and we started looking around for where she could go, and we'd gone to the CC's that was on precinct line, and I'm starting to look around, and there's an IHOP that is right across the street in the next parking lot, and I'm like, well, I guess we could go over to IHOP. And she apparently had to go so bad that she starts running across the street, and I bring 2 other girls with me because they said that they also had to use the restroom. and the entire time that we're walking across, them running across this, the parking lot, they're laughing their butts off. I'm also laughing. We're I'm sitting in the little area, the sitting area. We're sitting there waiting. We probably waited for about 10 minutes while she went to the restroom, and it was probably the funniest time that I've had when we've gone Christmas caroling. And it was the funniest moment that we've had that whole trip. It was a good time.
My most memorable moment was the restaurant and the ABLE class, because that was just awesome, and we sat down and they treated us like we were at a restaurant, so that was really cool. And the word is growth.
My favorite memory has to be going to the Rangers game to start off the year. It was a really cool experience to go to the game with all the staff members. And then one word to describe this year would be growth.
My most memorable moment is going to PD and with the entire district, hired in, outside PD help, very professional, my little blazer. And me and Derek wanted the same seat at this PD because, I was having really big back problems out there. So I pulled the chair from Derek thinking I was gonna sit. Derek thought he was gonna sit. And down goes Derek in front of the entire district PD at the plaza. And I was very, very red and sweaty, and I couldn't stop sweating the entire time. And shout out to my girl Tina Bean, because I don't know, it was her PD. I feel really bad. Sorry, Derek.
I guess the word that will describe this year is exhilarating. And my most memorable moment is when the students, we took the students to see the greatest Christmas pageant ever. We didn't think the kids would like it at first, but they really got into it because they saw kids on the stage just like them, and they were misbehaving just like they do sometimes, and they wanted to do something, be a part of something. Hey, I'm gonna go check out when I get to school, I'm gonna go check out the theater, and then they want to have a talent show, and so it made them really want to be involved in I guess I'll say the showmanship or show business.
All right, for me, the most memorable moment was definitely April 8th, seeing the eclipse and being here. That was very powerful. It was 4 minutes of darkness. That was really cool. And the most embarrassing is when I was helping to break up a fight and I ended up falling. A lot of people saw that. So that was the most embarrassing, but yeah. So those are the two things that are memorable for this year.
My most memorable part of the year is having a seizure. Not at school though. My most memorable part is working with Frazier. And the craziest thing I've heard all year is all the weird sayings the kids say, which is, what is it, skibbity toilet, whatever that means.
My most memorable moment was when I went to the theater field trip to go see Aladdin. And one word that I would describe for my second year of teaching is perseverance.
The most memorable thing that happened this year was our honors band achieved the 25th consecutive UIL sweepstakes. And the craziest thing that I heard a kid say was that I have a gyat.
My most memorable moment of this year was attending the visual arts scholastic event. It is the UIL basically for art. Finding out that all 4 of our students got the highest level, which is a number 4, and that 2 students went platinum, which is they would go to state if we were in high school. So that was the most memorable thing for me this year. My word for the year is evolution. We are evolving.
Hello. So one of my most memorable moments for this year was just getting to reward my kiddos for all the hard work they put in. So doing donut parties has been memorable for me. What was the other question? I forgot the question. So one word that describes my year for me, it's really hard to stick to one word, but it would be grateful to be able to do this another year.
The funniest thing a student told me was that she could set me up with other students' grandparents or grandmother. She did it more than one time. Okay. The one word to describe this year, fantastic.
So the greatest moment from this year for me is when my kids' spring interim results came back and they went up
22%. The funniest thing that ever happened to me this year is I had a kid sitting in tutorials one afternoon. It was nice and quiet. He was working, and all of a sudden he goes, "Holy Spirit, testify. Holy Spirit, testify." And I was like, okay. He's like, "Sorry, miss, it just came over me."
I would say my most memorable moment of the school year was the first day that teachers were on campus. I was nervous that I wouldn't get anything done because teachers would be all over the place, but it was actually the best day ever because so many people came by to say hi and just welcomed me, and it was just the best day ever, and it was so kind, and it just gave me this feeling that I was just going to love it here, and I did. I would say one word that describes my year is growth.
So my most memorable moment of the year is whenever I wore my contacts and the kid walked in and told me I looked old. And the word that I would use to describe this year is final, because this is probably it for me here at HMS.
3, 2, 1.
Okay, so memorable thing that happened this year was that the kids are really excited with me whenever Taylor Swift dropped her new album. And craziest thing the kids has told me this year is that I should make more videos and become an influencer because I'm a cool teacher. So yeah.
So one of my memorable moments happened recently in science with our symbiotic relationships project. Jesus Jueves walked into my room and he tells me, "Miss Jose, I got a real mosquito." And I'm like, "Say what?" "I got a real mosquito." So he's all like smiling face to face, and he goes out to his desk and he turns his huge box diorama, and I look inside and it's like this mannequin hand, and on that mannequin hand is, I kid you not, a literal organic hot glued mosquito. It was this big, so I don't think he realized it wasn't a mosquito. It was like one of those dancer bugs. But like what? Right? It's okay, Miss Jose. He's telling me. He's like, "It's already been dead."
I had a student say, "Oh, I'm with the best teacher. I get to be with the best teacher." And the craziest thing a student did was, "I know where you live."
The most memorable thing this year for me was watching my kiddos grow, especially one of my kiddos who came in not speaking English very well. He's amazing now. He's actually grown and he's actually doing better than my other kiddos. And the craziest thing that I've been asked is, "Miss, I'm hungry. What did you buy me? What are my snacks?" And I'm just like, "I'm not your mom."
The most memorable thing that happened this year is the teacher versus student basketball game. Coach Malcolm and I were talking trash to the students. So we walked into the game and we saw that they made huge posters with actual pictures of us drawn. And at that time I had really long hair, so I saw my hair just hanging off on the poster. So that was the most memorable thing. And a word to describe this year was very eventful.
I'm still going. We had a trash can funeral that day. So I had to send him back to his seat, and I gave him the paper to make his new mosquito. Yeah, all this started because he told me that he couldn't draw a mosquito. Yeah, okay, so I'm just saying that kid is going places, first of all, and I hope we both learned a lesson that day. Hashtag future taxonomist.
Hello, everybody. Hey, my most memorable moment. Well, I have to tell you this. It's when a certain student came up to me, and after being away for 2 or 3 times, I said, "Hey, you've been behaving well the last couple of weeks. I'm very proud of you." He said, "Yeah, man, I've got to behave. They don't play around here anymore, and they're just going to send me away, so I'm going to be good the rest of the year." Got a kick out of it, but there was a lot of truth to that, so I enjoyed that. That was my most memorable. And as far as a word that would describe this year, actually, it's a simple word, but enjoyable. I really had a great year all the way around, and
I truly enjoyed this year.
Okay, so my word of the year is growth, because I feel like I've grown a lot as a person, both in instruction and as a leader within the district, so it's been a great year for growth. My most memorable moment would be one specific student that I have who just makes my life so much fun. And one specific time I was thinking of, I let them choose their own group name, which we all know can be not the best decision, but he surprised me and he goes, "Hey, Miss Slaughter, look at my group name," and he flips it around, and his group name is Olivia and Emmett Slaughter, which are my children's names, just because he thought it was really funny, just because we talk so much about our families in the classroom, and it was a really cool connection for me. So I have that little placard up by my desk, and I'm gonna keep it forever.
Well, the most memorable moment for me was the eclipse with all of the kids. It was so neat to see their expressions and just how excited they were looking around. And one of the craziest things that I heard this year, well, it's crazy to me, but there was a girl walking by and she had some friends with her, and she looked over where I was standing. She turned back around, not realizing that I could hear her. She says, "That teacher scares the shit out of me." And I just started busting out. So anyway, that was like the craziest moment for me.
All right, one of my favorite memorable moments in choir this year was when I came back from spring break. And the first things that, of course, the varsity attendant bases wanted to know is that if I was Alpha Sigma, if I was shrinking, and if they wanted me to come to their house and watch Cars 2.
Memorable moment this year is seeing the kids from 6th, 7th, and then 8th grade growing, and seeing some that were very quiet in 6th grade and didn't want to talk to suddenly being social butterflies this year. And then my one phrase for the year, to sum it up, is Groundhog Day, for watching the kids from 6th and 7th and 8th grade.
Start again. Most memorable moment of the year is when a student who refused to talk to me the entirety of last year and told me that she hated me decided that I was pretty okay and has started coming a lot. The craziest thing that a student told me was probably that they see visions of demons, and that there was one in the room with us. So I'm still not sure if they were kidding or not, but I referred that out because that's above my pay grade.
When we read The Outsiders, and the number of students that actually said they loved it, it was the first book they ever liked and the first book they ever read. My word for this year would be disheartening.
Okay, so the most memorable moment for me this year is when I told Mr. Anderson I was retiring. For a split second, now he'll deny this, but for a split second, he looked sad, just for a moment. And the word for the year is
my most memorable moment, oh my goodness, I think came through trying to figure out some of my kids that weren't sure that they were supposed to be in theater, and but through me sticking it out and them sticking it out and finding a way to reach them. I'm so proud of my kids is that they found a voice, whether it's stop motion film, and even through Moana, kids that were different island groups, and we, kids, when I went to their tables, to their island, and Miss Davis, I want to know more about this, but I don't know the words. And then putting just one word on an index card for them just opened up such a world for them. And so just finding a way to reach them, because I just want to make a difference. They may not remember me, but I want them to remember that somebody cared. And oh my goodness, my one word for this year, first word came to mind was complete. And I learned a new word, which reiterates this. It's called teleste. All has been accomplished. So I was able to take my kids to different places that they may not have ever experienced. We did, oh gosh, I know it's one word, but brevity is not my long suit. So, but thank you for bearing with me. I love y'all, and I love my kids.